Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. So today we're going to making this trouser with cut together side pocket and elastic waistband. Now I made it of Adire fabric. I made it of 2.5 yards of Adire fabric. It was a request from Facebook that I should try and cut trouser together with the side pocket cut together. I wanted to do the band also, but because of the length of the Adire, I wasn't able to achieve that. I can see how the back looks like too, and this is how the pocket looks like. Hi guys, my name is Fatima A. Yusuf. On this platform I share sewing tutorials. This is something like let's get to it. So like I said earlier, 2.5 yards of Adire fabric, so I fold it into two, so I definitely have 4 layers, right? So initially I wanted cutting the band together too, because that was among the requests the person made, but because my length of my Adire was not more than my full length of my trouser is 45. So if I'm adding band and I'm also hemming, I should be working with like 40, 46, 47, but it's not going to happen. So if you want to work with your band, you want to cut your band together, all you need to do, you see the way I folded that up, I folded 3 inches. So you're going to fold it, and if you can't fold, you can just mark from that up part, mark 3 inches and extend that line, or that 3 inches. So that will serve as your border line. So any measurements you're starting from will be from that border line, so you cut it out. So yeah, I gave it 2 folds and I have 4 layers, right? And the other side is fully closed. So we'll be marking 16 inches from that up part to the down part of the fully closed side, because that will be for our pocket. So if you want to know how many yards to use, 6 inches plus your hip plus like 5 inches, that's after you folded though. So you can do your hip divided by 4 plus 5 inches, then you times it. So whatever you get, that's the amount of fabric you cut out before you now fold. So at that part, I'm going to cut out my border line. Like I said earlier, if you are cutting your band together, you just draw the border line after marking that 3 inches, and you're not cutting out that 3 inches because you want to cut your band together. So you can just fold in 1 inches when you're done around the waist area, and your band will be ready. So I cut out my border line, and then check what I have for my full length, right? Don't mind that joining there. It's Adire. Definitely, mostly Adire comes with like joining like that. So now from that my 6 inches outward, right, I'm going to impute my hip measurement divided by 4 plus additional 1 inches. Even if you're working with cut together band, you still do the same thing at the top before that your 3 inch, because you're not putting zip, you're putting elastic band. So from that 1 inches, I'm going to take it down to my crotch depth or your crotch length. Mine is 13. There are different ways you can measure it. You can sit on a flat surface and then you measure. I just measured mine while standing. I got 13. Some people might tell that you can measure your hip measurement divided by 4, then you can add 1 or add half. But me, I measured mine and I got 13. I joined that together with a straight line. That's my hip plus my crotch length, right? So hip divided by 4 plus additional 1 inches, right? Then you mark your crotch length or your crotch depth and you join it. So under my crotch depth, I will extend the line inward and outward, and on that line I'll go ahead and measure what I have. That's for my hip, right? And I will divide what I have by 4. I had 12, so if I divide by 12 is 3, right? So I'm going to mark that 3 outward, but mine wasn't enough, so I just marked 2.5. It's also good. So after that, then you form a curve from that 2.5 or 3. You form a curve to meet the crotch length. You can use your tape to help out with a curve. If you have a French curve, you can make use of it. So to use your tape, just mark 1 inches from that angle, and then you just form your curve. Very easy. So now after the curve, I'm going to measure what I have under my crotch line, and I'm going to just minus ½ inches to mark at the down parts, but it's not really necessary, but I just did that to just give it a little bit of shape. But you can just mark it straight down, or you can take in maybe like you minus 2 or 3 inches depending on the shape you're aiming at. So I just minus half, and then I marked it and I joined the 2 points together using my tape. You can use a long ruler for that. So basically that's what you need for this part. And remember, we are doing this for both back and front piece. So your hip divided by 4 plus additional 1 inch, take it down to your crotch length or depth, extend it inward and outward, mark your hip divided by 4 plus additional allowance, and take it downward. So at this 6 inches, that is where we are going to be putting our pocket, like I said earlier. So in case you're cutting your band together, like I said earlier, so that side, this my upper part, that will be your 3 inches line, right? So downward, you're going to mark 2 inches. Please, when you're doing yours, mark 1 inches. Mine, it was a little bit down for me, so you should try and just mark 1 inches. It will be okay. So like I said, you're cutting your band together. This 1 or 2 inches will be from that your 3 inches. So now that my 2 inches, I'll take it down to 6.5. That will be my pocket opening. You can make it of 7, 8. It depends on what you want. I'll mark that on that line, 2 inches, then 6.5. I'll use my free hand to just mark out my pocket. Just watch how I mark it out. and you make sure that it will be enough for you. It's going to accommodate your hands. After that, next thing, you have this, and you just go on to cut out your pattern. So you watch carefully how I cut. So the method is quite easy, just that if you have a longer length of material, it's just like you're wasting yard because of that other part, that fabric that will be left out from this down part. Now it might be a waste, or might use it for something else, maybe for the top. But me, I made use of it to make my band, since the length of the fabric wasn't enough for me, so I had to cut out. I had to make use of the excess for my band. So I cut out the pockets before, then my hip, then down to my crotch, and then the side, right? So you have this, right? So now for my full length, I'll just mark what I was aiming at, and I'll cut off the excess, because if you look at it, the down parts are not equal. Just mark. You make sure you're taking your tape from your band, and see my aside for my 2.5 that I was aiming at, and then I marked out my band. So I marked 46 because my full length is 45, so I'll be make use of 46. I just hemmed half inches downward. I know I'll use half inches to join the bands together, so I just cut out that, and this is what I have, right? So we folded our fabric, so we'll be having 4 layers, right? And then for the band, I'll be using that piece that I cut out at the down part to make my band. Now we have 4 pieces. That's what I'm trying to show you, people. So you have 4 pieces. That means you're making use of two pieces for back and front, right? So I'll just go ahead, and then I'm going to separate my front and back piece, because you still have to cut out a little bit from your front piece. Our back and front can be the same. Back needs to be a little bit higher or longer than the front piece. I'll pick the piece I want to be my front piece when I pick it. So you have something looking like this. So before picking the front piece, I'm going to stitch the crotch area, as for my hip to that my crotch area, with half inches. When I'm done, then I will now pick which side I want to be my front piece and which side I want to be my back piece. So this is the one I want for my front piece. So at the upper part where our crotch is, right, I'll mark 1 inches downward, and I'll use my ruler to join it to the other end slantly, and I'm going to cut out that part. So that will be our front piece, right? Even if you're using a cut together band for this, you could still do the same thing like I just did. So now I'm going to open up my back piece and then place my front piece on it, and I'll be joining a crotch curve together as the middle part of the trouser. And I'll make sure that when I want to join, the stitch, that's the crotch, the curve there, the stitches there aligns. That's the midpoint, they align. So you can start from the middle, take it to the left, go back to the middle, take it to the right. That was how I did mine. And if you're good, you can just take from one side, stitch, and meet the other side. So I now stitch the sides also by half inches. So I've done that here. I'm going to go ahead and measure what I have around my hip line, I'll be my waistline. If you are using a cut together band, just measure what you have at the top of your piece, and then I will use that my excess, like I told you guys earlier. That was what I made use of. I'll cut out a piece that is like 1 inch longer than what you have, because you'll be stitching a side together. Then the wideness depends on how wide you want your band to be. If you're being at 2 inches, you can make your band to be 3 inches, so that when you take half inches, you are left with 2. So mine, I made use of more than 3 because I'm aiming at 2.5 inches for my band. So I'll just go ahead and cut. This is just me cutting out, and then after cutting, I'm going to iron so that I can get the midpoint. And then I've cut it out like as you can see, and then I'll just stitch the edges together. So I said you should add 1 inch or half inches to your measurement that you got. So after stitching, you have this. So you can use your iron to fold in the sides by half inches. That will make your work easy. So you place it on your piece, front face facing front face of your trouser and front face of your band. And then I'm just going to run my stitch on that half inches. So you can use your iron to iron half inches on both sides of your band, so to make it easy. After stitching, I have this. Like I said, you can use your iron. So you just fold in, and then after folding, so the other parts, as you can see, you just take it across and you stitch. So while doing this, I thought about another method because I didn't want my stitch to show at the front piece. So you see what I would do. So this is just me ironing out my band, and I'll use my iron to fold in half inches like I told you earlier. Just fold in, even if it's 1 inch, fold it in with the aid of your iron. That will make it neater. Then after folding it in, I'll take it to my sewing machine. You can just cover it and then you stitch, right? But me, I'm not doing that. Make sure that my first stitch that I stitch, right, go into that my 0.5 that I just ironed. I don't know if you can see, and I will stitch. But this stitch will be inside. It's not going to show on the outside part. I don't know if you understand, but when you watch the video, you see what I did. So you can see your stitch won't show at the right face. So you just go on and then give your band a good press. And while stitching, you would leave a little bit of some part on stitch. So when you get to a part, you just stop stitch and start from another part, because that's where you'll be passing your elastic band through. So now this is my elastic band. I'm using 1 inch wide elastic band. So for the band, I cut out length. I made use of my waist minus 5 inches. So what I got was the length of the elastic band I cut out. So I will now use my safety pin to pass it through. So I told you will not stitch everything, right? You leave a space open so that you can pass your elastic band through it. So you just pass it. When you're done passing, and please be careful while passing, make sure you pass it rightly. When you're bringing it out on the other end, when you're doing it, you know what I'm saying. Just make sure you pass your elastic band through it rightly, correctly. After passing out my band, I'm going to join the 2 ends together. You stitch it, not just a straight stitch. You have to stitch it very well. You know that it's a band. Like join it when wearing it so that it will not go and cut loose. See how I stitched it very well, like multiple times. And we have this. Move your safety pin and you take it. So you have this. Then for the down part, I'll just hem in 1/2 inches and I'm good to go. So you see the final look. So this is how the trouser looks on me. Like it's nice. I didn't even expect it to come out so nice like this. If this video has been helpful, please give me a thumbs up, follow me, subscribe to my channel. I'm used to follow. Turn on your notification bell, give me a thumbs up, drop any question in your comments, and you can also drop any request on my Facebook. I'm going to see to it. So thank you all for watching. See you guys in another video. Bye.